4 years ago, my brother passed away, which was incredibly sudden. He had a mitochondrial disease, which is a genetic alteration. I was then tested, and it turns out that I'm a genetic carrier for the mitochondrial disease, which means that if I was to have children, my children will be affected. It has had a huge impact on our family.
The research is about trying to prevent the transmission of mitochondrial diseases. Mitochondrial diseases are basically diseases where organs run out of energy. There is no cure for these diseases, so we have focused on trying to prevent the transmission of these diseases, which in this particular case are passed on from mother to child.
These diseases are devastating. There are children who die from mitochondrial disease, there are adults who die from mitochondrial disease, and there are those who suffer for many years with these progressive disorders. You now have an option that allows you to have children that are genetically your own, but without the risk of passing on that mitochondrial disease or the threat of that mitochondrial disease.
So for the treatment, we take eggs from the patient and from a donor and we fertilise them. And around about 8 hours later, we perform the technique. So we remove the nuclear DNA from the patient's egg and transplant that into the fertilised egg from a donor that's had its nuclear DNA removed. After the procedure, the embryos are left to develop on, and we check them at various different time points to make sure they're developing normally. It's so important that these women were approved to undergo mitochondrial donation because they were at high risk of having children affected severely with mitochondrial DNA disease. It's such a privilege to be able to work in the embryology lab and perform the procedure and watch these embryos recover and carry on developing as if the technique hadn't even been done, and ultimately find out that, you know, the ladies are pregnant and have these healthy babies.
This is fantastic news that we have 8 babies through this process and that they're all developing normally. That we can see that the technique works, that these children are healthy and that they are meeting their milestones.
They have now created this ability, this opportunity to go through mitochondrial donation that would allow me to have healthy biological children. Being given that opportunity is so incredibly important because I would love to have my own children. 8 babies being born and 1 on the way has created an immense amount of hope for me.
It's really important that we continue to research this technique. The thing where a lot of research is currently looking at is the carryover of mitochondrial DNA mutation. The other area of research that's really important for the success of this program is also looking at the follow-up of the children born.
The Newcastle team were brilliant at setting up the whole clinical service and the embryology that was required for this. It's been a real team effort, and I think it's a great credit to Newcastle that we're really the only centre in the whole world that's able to offer this in a carefully regulated environment, providing the very best care for patients.
I'm absolutely delighted for these patients, and hopefully there'll be many more babies and pregnancies.
We wouldn't be able to offer this program without mitochondrial donors. We and the couples who've benefited from this owe a debt of gratitude to those people who've altruistically donated their eggs for this research program and for the process itself.
It's a great breakthrough for those families because until now they just haven't had that option.
I thank them. I could not thank them any further. Just amazing.